with a former WWE star addressing allegations made against him and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. It was announced that John Cena will be appearing Tuesday on NXT to be in the corner of Carmelo Hayes when he takes on Braun Breaker, as he said this about it on X. Thank you to Carmelo for the opportunity to be there live on NXT on what will be a cannot miss show on Tuesday. See you then. On WWE's The Bump, Raquel Rodriguez mentioned the possibility of taking on former AEW champion Jade Cargill, saying, "I think it's great. Like we were talking about, our women's division is growing. We are main eventing different shows on all the platforms all the way across. So to get another talent from an outside company to come in, and she's got such a massive following. And she's just adding to the list of big girls that someone has got to squash, probably me. I think it is great. It is great to have this kind of competition in the women's division and have this star power." Mentioning the toll that professional wrestling has taken on his body, Hulk Hogan said this about the state of his body to Chris Van Vliet. "I can't push a glass door open. Even in the gym, it's short strokes. I can't straighten my arms out, and it's the same with my knees and my hips, my back, my neck. But that's because I probably wrestled too long and I didn't get the memo that that stuff was fake. And I don't complain about it because, like I was telling Sky, she goes, 'Well, how much pain are you in?' And I tell her I'm in pain all the time, but I'm used to it. I had a physical therapist ask me the other day if you could be out of pain or you could have a perfect championship walk to the ring, which would you rather have? And I said, I'd rather have the walk. She goes, 'You're out of your mind.' And I tell her, yes, I am, because everything hurts just like gum. It's hard to explain, but when I brush my teeth and I lean on the counter to brush my teeth, I can't push away. So when I'm done brushing my teeth, I have to lean in and then pull back. I've been down that road with the pain pills. The last 12 years, I've had 25 surgeries. The knees, the hips, 10 back surgeries, and a couple shoulder surgeries, abdominal surgeries, orbital socket surgery. So I know what it's like when the doctor goes, 'Here's your prescription.' Sometimes when you're in such pain after 7, 9, 10 back surgeries, you'd rather just jump off a cliff than live another day. It's real easy to fall in that situation, and a lot of other wrestlers who've passed away have fallen into that situation. It's just a more natural way to walk things off, a more natural way to get on track and get back to normal, so it makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons to me. During that same interview, Hogan revealed that he signed a new Legends deal with WWE, saying, I still work with the WWE all the time. I just renewed my deal with them, And does that mean we can hear your music hit sometime soon? I hope so. It's always fun to go out there, and maybe I can hang on to one of the wrestlers to get me out to the ring. But it's really crazy, because when I was the world's champion, we sold a ton of merchandise. We didn't have the vehicle to the internet and the stuff that they have nowadays, but we sold a lot of stuff, back in the day. The cartoon was very supportive of the merchandise and stuff like that, and it was kind of strange because I think I had 350 licenses, which are like individual deals, frisbees, watches, headbands, chalk, kites, potty seats, tennis shoes, whatever it may be. And now that I'm kind of like Jimmy Hart says, "Well, baby, what's old is new again, what's old is new again," and I said, Jimmy, you're right. I've been approving merchandise every day. I get new stuff coming in, and I'm up to like 850,000, like 900,000 pieces of merchandise. I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. It's 300 different agencies. I'm up to 900 licenses, not 900,000. I'm thinking wrong. But instead of 300 deals for frisbees or whatever, it's up to almost 900. Yeah, so it's like Elvis is still alive. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. But it's just amazing how the fans have made this live forever. It's amazing. Speaking of signing new deals with WWE, Kevin Nash said this on his Click This podcast when noting what it would take for him to sign with All Elite Wrestling. Unless it's $5 or $6 million and a private jet, the only thing that would have got me to AEW, but WWE just signed. As she suffered a torn MCL back in January, NXT star Nikita Lyons was asked on X about an update on her injury and when she'd be returning to WWE. Lyons simply replied, "Writing soon." Asked about the attendance numbers for AEW's All In London event at Wembley Stadium, a fan wrote this to Dave Meltzer: "What about all the sold shirts with the wrong number on it and Ospreay's tattoo? Will the shirts be updated like this number?" Meltzer replied, "For whatever reason, AEW made the decision to announce paid attendance rather than total, which is unusual for pro wrestling historically." AEW President Tony Khan chimed in, writing, "The reason I announced the actual paid attendance, 81,035 tickets sold, instead of saying over 85,000 tickets distributed, is because our 81,035 sold at AEW All In at Wembley Stadium in London is the all-time ticket sales record, whereas WCW North Korea shows hold tickets distributed record." Touching on the injury that Sammy Guevara suffered at WrestleDream, Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio that Sammy got a concussion on the pay-per-view is what happened, so he's out until it's a concussion story. Could be next week, could be, who knows, but yeah, he's out. On June 19th of 2020, former WWE star Matt Riddle was accused in a now deleted tweet by Indiana wrestler Thunder Kitty, who said that her friend had told Riddle to not change his wrestling attire in the women's locker room and had to leave that building. Back then, Riddle had responded to this. Now, David Bixenspan has gone over these allegations, saying that Malia Hosaka was the friend and veteran lady wrestler mentioned by Thunder Kitty. "We were all in there. Our show was going on. I didn't know who he was, but I was sitting with my feet propped up and eyes closed. When I opened them, he was on my right, stripped down to his underwear, and I got mad at the lack of respect from today's generation. For him to come into the locker room to change while the women had the room and to strip down and change was disrespectful. There was a bathroom down the hall that fans couldn't get to that he could have used. In my generation, the men and women respected each other enough to at least ask if it was okay or to ask for privacy. It pissed me off. And then his attitude that he had underwear on and that it wasn't a big deal pissed me off more. So I told him how I felt about the lack of respect." Matt Riddle responded, "The PWX thing wasn't even an incident. There was only one locker room, which isn't uncommon in the indies unfortunately, and the promoter told me to change in there. So I did. Malia confronted me on my way out. I explained that the promoter told me to change in there, and she talked to the promoter, and that was the end of it." Bixenspan added, "According to sources familiar with how the shows were run though, this could not have happened the way that Riddle described it. In particular, it was made clear that PWX always had two locker rooms if there were women on the show, particularly at the venue in question, which had plenty of spare rooms. It was also stressed that even if a singular locker room for the QOC show was repurposed as the men's locker room for the PWX show, all of the men on the PWX show were told not to enter the space until all of the women had cleared out. It was also noted by these same sources that Riddle would have had no reason to change into his gear at any point when the all-women show was ongoing. According to the Eventbrite page for the doubleheader, which was sold as a single ticket granting access to both shows, QOC started at 4 p.m. Eastern and would have been over by 6 p.m. The doors opened for PWX, while PWX had a 7 p.m. bell time. An excerpt from Bixenspan article reads, "In regards to my friend Abby driving the van, he's driven me and others on multiple occasions in loops in the Northeast. When I was on the Indies and even in WWE," wrote Riddle when asked for comment. Abby didn't respond to tweets asking about it. When he realized she was talking about a different van and loop in the Midwest, he realized it and took his tweet down. Following Riddle's WWE release, plans for him had to be cancelled, as WrestleVotes noted. Prior to his departure from the company, I'm told there were significant plans for a Matt Riddle-Drew McIntyre tag team. So much so, various merchandise items were designed with the team name McRiddle. This is not a joke. Regarding the potential for CM Punk to make a WWE comeback following his firing from AEW, Ringside News wrote that some WWE fans believe that CM Punk was referenced during Raw this week. Ringside News exclusively reported that Seth Rollins is one of many people here who don't like CM Punk. If he had an idea that was a reference, then he most likely got it approved by Triple H before the show and kept it out of the script. Ringside News reached out about this story, and we were told that WWE and CM Punk are not working on anything. Also, there is no CM Punk match planned in WWE for the future unless something shifts dramatically. Many fans have been tweeting about Seth Rollins versus CM Punk at WrestleMania. Those two look good next to each other on fan-made WrestleMania 40 graphics that have been floating around. There is no plan for this to actually happen, so fans will have to keep this match in the fantasy booking territory. Ringside News was able to exclusively confirm that we are told that the main event matches for both nights of WrestleMania 40 are decided. The women's title matches are also decided. Obviously, CM Punk is not a part of those plans. With John Cena and LA Knight taking on Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa at Fastlane, Dave Meltzer pointed this out on Wrestling Observer Radio. It feels like Saudi Arabia is going to be Roman Reigns against John Cena. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.